Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to look at a brief overview of SolidWorks Sustainability. So what is this? So as you know, when you create a part in SolidWorks and you want to now manufacture it, most of the time you might not necessarily manufacture the part yourself. You're going to send it to some manufacturer elsewhere in the world to create it for you. And the material that comes for this part, they can not necessarily come from that same place. They can come from other places. And different countries have different policies regarding material extraction, regarding recycling parts and everything, and how the parts are shipped from one country to another and so on. So all of this will have effects on the environment and how the part is, what we call the end of life of it. Again, would we recycle it? Would we just throw it away? Would we put it on fire, right? Incineration or something. So, and then what material we pick, again, all of this will have different effects on the environment. So the goal of this sustainability is in real time, as you change your material, as you change the location of your manufacturer, the place that the part is going to be used, and different factors about the manufacturing of it and so on, you see that the traces that it will leave in the environment in terms of the carbon footprint, which basically talks about the amount of carbon dioxide and other things that are burned in order for your product to be made. So you are burning fossil fuels and so on. In terms of energy consumption, different countries, they have different amounts of energy usage to create the same part and to get rid of the same part, and then how much air pollution that will cause, and then how much water pollution that will cause. From the moment the part is created, the material for it is extracted, until the end of life of the part where it is being disposed or recycled. So this is the goal of sustainability, and in fact, the effect of the part manufacturing decisions and application decisions on the environment. So here I want to show you how to do it in SolidWorks. So let's say one of the components that you make is a flange, and you decided to make it out of aluminum 1060, okay? So here we go to Tools, we go to SolidWorks Applications, and we click on Sustainability. And once we click on it, it is going to create this window for me on the left where I can basically study the part and the decision about it. So the material that I'm picking in this case is aluminum alloy, and it's 1060. Okay, and this is basically the effects that it has for carbon, energy, air, and water. And here I can come down and say, set this for me as the baseline. And now I'm going to change some of my decisions, and I'll see what happens to that. So right now, if I just change my material, just my material, nothing else, and say instead of aluminum 1060, go ahead and use aluminum, for instance, 224 alloy. Okay, and it goes ahead and in real time, keeping everything else the same. And you might say, what is everything? So as I said, this is the location of the manufacturing, how many years the part is built to last, what is the manufacturing process, then is the part is going to be painted or not, where the part is going to be used, how the part is going to be transported from manufacturer to the user, and what are the policies for recycling, incineration, and just landfill when the end of the life comes. So without changing any of those, just changing my material, you can see that the baseline, which is black, and the new one is red, it indicates something. What is the indication? If something is red, that means your current material is worse than the previous one. So 1024 alloy, in terms of creating carbon dioxide and affecting the carbon footprint, this is worse than aluminum 1060. The same goes for energy and the air pollution and the water pollution. So clearly changing it from 1060 to 220, if both of them are strong enough and can basically, they do not necessarily change the cost, which we know they do, but in terms of environment effect, clearly I made a bad decision. So now I say, well, forget it. I'm going to go back to aluminum 1060. That was better than this. Now, what I want to do is to change some of those factors. For instance, right now, the part is being built to last 4 years, but it's being built in India, okay? Now, instead of India, where the part has 33% chance of being recycled, 13% chance of being incinerated, and 54% chance of being completely disposed, now I want to go ahead and change the location of manufacturing to Asia, East Asia and China. And you see, when I change it from India to China, now my carbon footprint is a little bit better, and my energy consumption, water and air, are a little bit better too. And if I look at those numbers again, you see that the numbers change a little bit, not too much, but they change a little bit. Now you might say, what if I make this part to be made in Europe? So let's go ahead and make it to be made in Europe. Now you see clearly, in terms of water and air pollution, it's much better, and energy and carbon a little bit better. And you can see that the numbers are almost the same here. Now you might say, where is it that I'm going to be using it? Do I use it in North America or South America? Because the place of use is where determining this end of life, not the place of manufacturing. So if I change it from North America to South America, look what happens. Now, instead of recycling 33% chance, now 80% chance in South America that this product is going to be just disposed, and only 2% chance of recycling. Yes? So if I go back to North America like this and set this as my baseline, and then come back and change it now to South America, you see clearly South America is a little bit worse than North America. You see that? Yeah? And then I can go back and say, hey, I don't want to paint this part. I want it to have no paint. And you see clearly no paint in the same, even if it's in South America, no paint can be better than painted in North America. Okay? So adding paints make it less usable. And then what? The number of years you made this part to last. Okay, so if you make this part to last longer, this is definitely going to have effects on something. And then what process do you want to use? Do you want to mill this part? Do you want to do die casting? So if I do die casting, clearly it is going to take more energy, right? So it's all about the effect of each and every one of them. Or let's say here, how do I ship it? In this case, the part is to be made in, let's say, Asia and to be sent to North America. How do I do the transportation? Do I do the shipping? Do I use boats? Do I use cars? Do I use trains or what? So here, based on, so let's say I go to Europe instead. And going from Asia to Europe, maybe I would just want to go by train. So right now with the ship, I set it as baseline, but now I want to see what happens if I send them by train instead of ship. Okay, and of course I have to provide the total distance. So let's say the total distance is 12,000, and I do that, and you see it's worse. So going with ships is definitely better for the environment than going by trains, even though the ship distance is bigger than the train distance. Okay? Okay, it's even larger, but it is not going to pollute the environment as bad as the other one did. So all of this in real time, you can see their effects, and you can click on each one of these items if you want to see the breakdown on them, because each one of them belongs to one of these items. So the environmental effect is going to come from the material, comes from the manufacturing, comes from the use, comes from the end of life, and comes from transportation, right? So when you're extracting the material, manufacturing the material, using them, end of life, and transportation, all of them might need fossil fuel, so all of them will have effects. And if you want to see the breakdown, you can just click on them, and it shows compared to the baseline which item is better, which item is worse here, right? So you see, for instance, material is the same as, almost the same as the baseline, but manufacturing is worse, and end of life is the same. Transportation is a little bit worse, right? So you see, these are some of the things that you can look at, and you can check the environmental effect. So hopefully this video was useful to you. You learn a little bit about sustainability in SolidWorks, and I'll see you in the next video.